I am not sure if people have seen the news. Let's be Jewish about this. What's a good psalm? People are suggesting Psalm 25. Am I going to go with the suggestion? Sure, let's do Psalm 25. I actually know the words, but let me pull up the words. Psalm 25. And 25, 26, 25, 26, 26, 26, 24. What? Why am I forgetting psalm numbers? I am forgetting psalm numbers. Psalm 23. We don't use psalm numbers very often in Judaism, so that's my excuse. Psalm 23. And dear Lord, please bring us peace and healing for everyone, including Charlie Kirk, who was shot today, and everyone else, and all of us, your children. מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר, בינות דשא ירביצני, על מי מנוחות ינהלני. נפשי ישובב ינחני במבלי צדק למען שמו, גם כי אלך בגיא צל מוות, לא אירא רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי, דשנת ושמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. לדוד מזמור לאדוני הארץ ומלואה, תבל ויושבי בה, כי הוא על ימים יסדה ועל נהרות יכוננה. מי יעלה בהר אדוני ומי יקום במקום קודשו, נקי כפיים ובר לבב, אשר לא נשא לשווא נפשי, ולא נשבע למרמה, יישא ברכה מאת אדוני, וצדקה מאלוהי אישו. זר דור דרשיו, מבקשי פניך יעקב, Selah. This is Yaakov, the generation of those who seek him, that seek thy face. Selah. שאו שערים ראשיכם והינשאו פתחי עולם, ויבוא מלך הכבוד. מי זה מלך הכבוד? אדוני עזוז וגיבור, אדוני גיבור מלחמה. שאו שערים ראשיכם ושאו פתחי עולם, ויבוא מלך הכבוד. מי הוא זה מלך הכבוד? אדוני צבאות, הוא מלך הכבוד. Selah. Who is this King of glory, the Lord of hosts? He is the King of glory. Selah. I put the link in the chat. If anybody wants to join and talk, we can. Look, the Democratic Party has for 200 years been the party of racism and slavery and segregation, and now the new form of indentured servitude we refer to as undocumented immigrants. Racism is the original sin of the United States from the very beginning. We are not going to get away from it without serious repentance. And the fact is that I hope very much there will not be another civil war, but the Democratic Party is what the Democratic Party is. And they have shown themselves to be violent over and over and over again. The first Republican president of the United States was shot by a Democrat. The current president of the United States was shot by a Democrat. Fortunately, he lived despite multiple assassination attempts. If we do not reckon with the fact that the Democratic Party is a danger, their ideology is honestly, anti-Semitism is probably a part of this, because again, the Democratic Party is the party of anti-Semitism currently. So I don't have much to say. My hope is that we live in a community that is sane enough to recognize. I have been listening obsessively to the dialogue on the Democratic side for the past 6 months at least, but really for the past 8 years. Just hoping that some sanity can return, that they will realize that they have left any semblance of seriousness, of being capable of running our society, of dealing with reality. I was listening to the New Yorker political radio hour, or whatever they call it here. And the New York Times, The Daily, both of which, what was the name of this? Podcast that I was listening to. The Political Scene by the New Yorker. It's not it's not it is precisely people who are very influential in the Democratic Party. Hello, Jason. How are you? Yes, we could really use some shalom right now. Just not being able to recognize Yeah, no. But you have to understand that. Okay, so Garth says the worst part about this is that Charlie wasn't even targeted for being a radical by any definition of the word. He was a baseline conservative. Exactly. He was targeted because the radicals. Look, when Hamas went into the kibbutzim in around in what's called the Gaza envelope, around Gaza, they deliberately went to the left-wing kibbutzim and murdered the people on the Israeli left. Because that is what terrorists do. Their whole point is radicalization. And they view the people who bring people together as the problem. That is one of the first things to understand about terrorists. Terrorists don't go against the fringe. They go against those people who are bringing people together. And look what Charlie Kirk was doing. He was de-radicalizing people, on young men specifically, by showing them a way forward, which is precisely why this boomer, and I mean, we don't have too many details except his picture, but it was a boomer who shot him. Obviously, not surprisingly at all, even though boomers are somebody who is at that age is the least likely to just be violent, right? This was planned political assassination. It is ideological. This is the Democratic Party at its logical conclusion. And until we recognize we have to have two political parties in the United States, at least. You cannot function with fewer than two political parties. And what we do not have is a functional Democratic Party. And unless Republicans recognize that there needs to be a functioning and functional Democratic Party, right? We can't simply content ourselves by laughing at the comical stupidity and just raging at the fact that the Democrats are, of course it does. So this is the problem. Like, for 8 years, I have been waiting for the Democrats to be like, to course correct and be like, hey, we need to step off this ledge. Look what happened. We are so horrible, and they are, that reasonable people are voting for Donald Trump, and they are, and that should tell us something. But do they have any capacity to do that? No, they do not. They do not. And the fact Donald Trump has been able to be elected president of the United States basically 3 times. Basically 3 times. But let's include the crazy Democratic idea that it's only 2 times. Let's give them that. Why? Last week I was just marveling, or maybe it was this week, it was only a few days ago, I was marveling at the fact that Snopes here, I posted it on my Twitter, Snopes had to debunk the idea, September 8th. So 2 days ago, I posted this. Article from Snopes. This is and I wrote, this is the state of Blue Anon. They are debunking the idea that Donald Trump was never shot. What do you expect from people who are, what was the numbers? Here, let's ask Grok. Let's ask Grok. What percentage of Democrats believe Donald Trump was not shot? I won't even do the quick answer because here. Blue Anon is real. The Democratic Party is a threat to our country. And the way that we get through this without violence is by politically doing, frankly, what the second Trump administration has been doing better than I ever imagined they would be. And to some extent, people have been asking me about Peter Thiel talking about the Antichrist. To some extent, I think Peter Thiel has the right sentiment. He is worried about us going too far, and that is a genuine worry because backlash after backlash is bad, and we have to be able to deal with the Democrats we have to deal with the Democrats in a sane way, the way they can't, right? According to a Brightline Watch survey conducted in October 2024, using a YouGov panel of 2,750 Americans, 38% of Democrats endorsed the claim that the July 13th, 2024 assassination attempt on Donald Trump was staged rather than a real event where he was shot, while 37% endorsed the same for the September 15th, 2024 attempt. Another one was 33%. I would bet you if they were to do this over today again, it would be over 50%. I seriously think today over 50% of Democrats, and that is the state of the Democratic Party, especially because sane people have left the Democratic Party. We have a walking zombie of and frankly, it relates with the boomers. They are a walking zombie of people who had power, who were leading, who are absolutely lost, completely useless, and unwilling to take up a new role in actually being sane, accepting that they are past their prime, that a new generation needs to come up. And yeah, it's I don't want this just to be Jacob monologuing, honestly. I frankly, I don't even understand why there's 20 people sitting there listening to Jacob monologue, because as I one of my other Twitter posts that I'm quite proud of was I have something very, very important to say about Israel and the politics around Israel. The only person who cares about my opinions about Israel are my parents. I said my mom, but like, hey, we might get a Sartori. Yeah, the shooter was a boomer. Yeah, that's why this is called Boomer Wars. And it's not surprising. It is not surprising because this was obviously an ideological and yeah, I mean the Boomer Party, which is the Democratic Party, is 100% to blame for this. 100% to blame for this, and there will be probably zero accountability because, frankly, the Republicans are not willing and able, and I'm not sure they even want to. This is my Antichrist and us going too far thing. I think there are too many people who are perfectly happy with the Democrats continuing to be what they are. And those are people who don't actually love the United States. Those are the types of people, to quote Varys, or was it Littlefinger, they would burn this country to the ground so they could be king of the ashes. And there are way too many people. That is boomerality. Speaking of the person who coined the term boomerality, how you doing, Mr. Sorry.
Well, for the most part, okay, but that's shocking to see that the clip of him. I did not want to necessarily look at that. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it is honestly.
So I did not watch the video of Irina. I can't even say her last name being murdered because it was just too gruesome.
This was worse than that in what you could actually see.
I just slid past it and saw 2 seconds, and I was like, no.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like, I feel like in some ways, it is important to have that because it's very different than what you see in movies and things like that. And that's a reality, because that's the lie. That's these things have been glorified so much in our artistic representations that people think about, whatever what it's going to accomplish, and not the actual reality of putting a young family through hell. And hopefully, from what it seems, it looks. I'm shocked, honestly. Looking at it, I'm shocked that they're still that he's apparently still alive. As far as I know, they got him to a hospital.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, with Irina being on a subway, or maybe it was a bus, I forget which one, but there's nothing you can do in terms of first aid, really, with a neck wound. But I think relatively for doctors, it's actually even easier than being shot in the torso or the head.
Yeah, I mean, the blood loss, I think, is the thing. So hopefully, I'm sure
it's all a question of whether it hit the carotid and jugular.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was thinking the thing that was coming to mind was with Solomon's judgment between the two women, and
splitting the baby.
Yeah, and the split the baby side keeps trying to split the baby in half, like
Yeah.
and the other people keep saying take the baby, but we're saying but for all the taking of the baby, they still want to split it in half. I mean, I guess you can say that's this is the response to like conservative victory or something. I mean, I don't know. It's just
Well, look, 2020 was our take the baby moment. For the vast majority of us, including me, it was here, take the baby moment.
yeah.
And they had the baby for 4 years. And so 2024 was that this isn't going to work.
I mean, I think maybe honestly, I think I don't know. So I was a little concerned about with the woman on the bus because I have so much like conservative people on my Twitter, and like I was concerned about because it's like that guy was demon possessed. It's nothing to do with the fact that he's African American. Like whatever. Like he's a demon possessed person. That's what.
I mean, it plays into it. The fact she was an incredibly beautiful young white woman.
Yeah.
The comment he made about her being white that was caught on tape.
Yeah.
And the fact that he was black and the other passengers were black.
Well, I think black people probably get possessed by racist demons, and so do white people,
Yeah, look.
I mean, yeah,
yeah, but we're talking about so many different people. Like, we're not talking about individuals anymore.
Yeah.
But by the way, I wanted to point something out about what you said earlier. I didn't want to interrupt you. The Muslim guy who convinced himself to become a terrorist in Colorado and went with those homemade flamethrowers and murdered that, I believe she was in her 80s, maybe she was in her 90s, but this old Jewish woman by and she was a Holocaust survivor, if I remember correctly, by literally burning her to death. He threw up as soon as he was arrested. Because, the reality of being the monster that he was hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, yeah, you're like, this guy had been planning this for years. Well, not for years, but for definitely months. And when he actually saw what he did, he threw up.
Yeah.
And frankly, this guy, whoever the boomer is, because this is, I mean, there's a difference between somebody being violent, rage-filled, and actually being convinced by things like Hamas and the Democratic Party. Not that there's that much difference. Sorry, not sorry if you feel that's going too far. These are people who are being convinced that that they are doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why ideological fights are serious and real and need to be had. And frankly, if Elon Musk had not taken over X, I do think there would have been. We already had people shot and dying because of this. Yeah.
I did just to see. I was like, I went to CNN.com just to see what it said, and they had it right there at the top, but then they had it as, this is the 46th time somebody has been shot at a school. That's.
Are you? Oh my God!
Well, I guess, I guess NBC said that it might have been a Trump supporter firing off a gun in celebration.
What? These people, look, we cannot live in a country with these people. We just cannot. Like, he was speaking, and the extent of his injuries is unknown. At least I'm not seeing the.
Yeah, it was went up. I mean, they change this
Yeah.
stuff all the time, but maybe somebody realized that's not in good taste.
Yeah. Think. I mean, the whole Irina thing has turned into Republicans pounce. I don't know if you've noticed that, but the New York Times wrote an article, and it was Republicans pounce.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't. I don't know. It's it's funny. Like, I don't know. I remember, like, not to say there's nothing bad about it, but it's like with, like, like George Floyd. It was like they were straining the narrative to make it fit the thing, and like like, and I was saying, like, I remember, like, and there's been other ones too, and it's like, but but the fact that, like, you have these things where it's so, like, okay, what one person just trying to ride a bus, another person, yes, a political person, but a pretty reasonable person exercising free speech, something that we all supposedly support, like, and that like, but that some people, I mean, hopefully people smarten up real quick. Hopefully, really, they do. But the fact that people being like, well, maybe it's good.
Been 8 years. It's been 8 years. Do you really think the Democrats are going to?
I mean, I don't know. I think, like, that was the thing, because I think it was when Trump won again this time. The thing, it was. Obviously, they did a huge disservice to people because they used this tactic of, let's say that this guy is the devil, and if he wins, it's going to be, the end of the world. And then, like, they ramped up the fear so much, and my thinking is just, well, maybe it's just going to take a long time of, like, not it being the end of the world for people to, like, deprogram from that. I mean, it's got to happen at some time, but I don't know if stuff like this shocks them out of it sooner, or what. Like, like, just like, if you have to ask, like, what somebody's political affiliation is before you decide whether their death was a tragedy or not, like, that's pretty messed up.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah, I mean, it is the boomer thing is. I was surprised. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know if I was surprised. It's like,
Well,
that's.
it would have been surprising because generally it is young men who are willing to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But part of the boomer thing, I mean, in a normally functioning society, the people who would be doing this type of stuff would be young men.
Yeah.
Because young men are susceptible. But the fact is that the boomers are the ones who are living in the ecosystem. There's a reason I listen to The Daily by the New York Times and the New Yorker and the Atlantic, Washington Week with the Atlantic, and things like that. Because when I was growing up, and for most boomers still, these were the sense-making apparatuses, or however you say that, sense-making organizations, organs of our society. And the fact is that we have boomers, don't need to name names, everybody knows who I'm talking about, who are completely bought into CNN and MSNBC tell you the truth. And they imagine that is the world they live in. And if you live in that world, if you listened to the New Yorker political scene, here I'll look which episode. So the September 6th episode, I listened to it on Monday because I was, I was trying to see where is the Democratic Party at, right? And if you listen to that hour, like the one thing that Trump has done, which I will be eternally grateful for, I mean, you have to say the overturning of Roe, obviously, but the other thing is defunding PBS and NPR. Because this assassination attempt is directly downstream from my tax money and your tax money being spent on far left insanity. And I remember growing up, my teachers telling me, well, if you want truly neutral stuff, listen to PBS, right? And I did. I as a child, I grew up on the NewsHour. And when I recognized that it was actually PBS and NPR, which are to the left of MSNBC. Hello, Lance. You're muted.
You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
We're going to address the mental illness and the violent, unhinged nature of the Democratic Party and the left wingers in our country, or not?
Okay.
Steve Scalise, Trump, the radicalized trans shooters of the last 8 school shootings. Now Charlie Kirk. We have people getting violently murdered because they're letting people, violent criminals, out on the streets in these Democratic strongholds. When are we? I mean, this is where I don't want to be a radicalized person, but it gets really hard, Jacob, to not be.
Oh, I hear you. I mean, I don't know how much you listened to this since we started, but no, especially this shooting is 100% on the Democrats. There is no question about it. You bring up something which I don't think was present here, which in the Kirk shooting, which is mental illness, although certainly and cluster B personality disorders are a huge part of how the Democratic Party operates. There's no question about it. And then, so 3 different things. You have the ideological Democrats who are making sane people, driving sane people to, like apparently the shooter today, be violent and murder, which is standard operating procedure for Democrats and has been at least since the Civil War era. The Democratic Party started the KKK. The Democratic Party started the Civil War. The Democratic Party was the violent ones during desegregation. The Democratic Party has continued throughout the history of this country for hundreds of years to be both the violent ones and the ones who have a lot of institutional power. And they pretend that they're not, which is insane to me. But
Yeah.
so
Was the shooter? Did they identify the shooter?
There's a picture of him. He was a boomer.
It looked like that. I didn't. They said it was according to the campus police, it was something from like a couple hundred yards away. But I would say this, it wouldn't surprise me. Look at these protests. It's these old boomers and their profilicity, raging, angry. I've lived with it in my own home with my mother-in-law being unhinged, sent into a rageful fit at the mention of Trump's name. MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC. I'm just going to say this, Mark. I'll say Paul. If you guys are still watching these outlets and you think there's this, well, there's this, there's that, you don't have a clue of what's actually going on. And we need to wake up the people that are sleepwalking through this. And what aboutism? I don't care if they actually set Trump up. Like, and I'll call Nate out. Like, he was like, he didn't care what the actual facts were about the collusion and the setting up Trump for the Russia. He was like, I don't care. Like, you're too cool for this. Like, this stuff is happening. The fact that it would be a raged out boomer, these people that watch MSNBC and CNN and the news, everything that happens, everyone's dying with every decision. It's Hitler, right? These people are the dangerous ones, and yet they continue to perpetrate the violence over and over and over. They take advantage of Christians because we actually are the ones that turn the other cheek. That's where you're like, Jacob, love can be an idol, right? It's this weaponized compassion and this suicidal empathy. But Charlie Kirk actually he would go out in good faith and engage in dialogos. He was doing everything that we say we should do in this little corner. And he's been so villainized. I'm just going to say, just in terms of trying to have good faith conversation, he is not some sort of crazed right-wing wacko. But I am sick and tired. And the last time we had this conversation and Mark came on, I'm sorry, Mark, I'm calling you out. And that's kind of when I disappeared from the corner because I figure we got to give him his room and whatever. But
he has his own channel and he's been spewing his stuff for everyone who wants to hear to that stuff.
But my point is, this is like when they try to assassinate Trump, and it's like, well, people try to assassinate people. It's a total, and I went over, I have this account, Blue Sky, they are just joyous over this. They're joyous.
I actually want to hear. I want to hear this. I have to say, it appears that possibly the person who was pictured is not the shooter. He was just somebody who was detained. I don't know why, but I actually do.
Well, I just think in
for
fog of
boomer
war.
age.
So the fog of war. But anyway, so the point is like, the thing that we have though, and this is tied into you, when Mark Halperin said, if Trump wins, we're going to see the largest mental health crisis in the history of this country, right? And what we're seeing is it's happened, right? And the Charlie Kirk one just really hit so close to home. He is such a good young man, and he was trying to do things in a way to engage in discourse, right? And to approach people. He's liked by all sorts of people across the political, the people that aren't unhinged, but we have got an unhinged elderly, the 60s radicals, and we've got these mentally ill people that literally have, but the spell has been cast on them. They're living under this spell.
I mean, again, I have to say it's there are. I saw reports that the person who was taken into custody wasn't the shooter. I don't want to say things that.
No. And even if it wasn't a boomer shooter, if the guy was 20, I don't care. The boomers are a problem right now. The left-wing boomers are a problem.
I do want to listen to this because I simply can't believe it.
In which a shooting like this happens.
Yeah, and again, emphasize what you just emphasized. We don't know any of the full details of this. That we don't know if this was a supporter shooting their gun off in celebration, or so we have no idea. But
in which
we don't know if this was a supporter. Like, this is MSNBC. Like,
Yeah. Well, that's they just think
imagine.
gun happy right wingers blasting off their 6-shooters all day long. That's what
And these are the people who talk about QAnon. Blue Anon is real, and I mean, we can talk about the mental health crisis. I mean, I don't want to boil things down to too much of one thing or another, but part of the mental health crisis that has happened since Trump won and since Trump has been president is the fact that mental health professionals, a lot of them are very left-wing. Most of them are women. And the fact is, most people go into mental health because they themselves have had issues, and because they are in the profession, they are more likely to be diagnosed than people who are not in the general population, right? So there is also that. But there has been I posted about it earlier today. There are now directories of conservative psychologists because there are people who will not treat Trump supporters.
Well, and so the other thing I would just say is when I talk about this, when I'm talking about really, if he had the right language, what Mark Halpern would have been talking about is these people that are under a mass psychosis formation that Matthias talks about, right? That in the same way that he's seen this happen in other regimes, right? And we have this mass formation psychosis that has happened, right? That has happened to the left, right? Has put them in this situation where they are unhinged.
Yeah.
They're unhinged. And again, like I have seen it in my own home, literally and we've seen it, the rage face of people who consume MSNBC or CNN. At just the mention of certain words, we've seen the videos, they're all over the place. They lose their minds. You can't have a conversation with these people.
Look,
And some of these people, when you put them in that state, what do? They go out and act violently.
If you listen to these sources and you take them seriously, and that includes The Atlantic, The New York Times, The New Yorker,
ABC, CBS,
NPR,
NBC.
These are the major institutions. The New York Times, like, if you can't, is it any wonder that people believe the New York Times? And if you believe what they're saying, then of course you're going to be violent.
Yes. Yeah, it's the same thing. Again, how could people get swept up the whole Jordan Peterson thing? And it's a blind spot to certain people that, would be moderate, and they're just kind of turning a blind eye to it. Moderate Dems or so on and so forth. But they live in half a reality world. Yeah, I just needed to. I'm sorry, Jacob. I had to come vent with you.
No, I put the stream on so that people can vent, but I trust Garth, and if what he's saying is true, then God have mercy.
Yeah, I think there's conflicting reports. There's always the fog of war until you hear the police actually identify and provide who they've arrested, right? You just never can know these things.
Well,
it looked
apparently
fairly unsurvivable.
I mean, Garth is saying that the Speaker of the Utah House announced Kirk has passed away. Garth, if you could get me the reference to that, because I obviously we yeah, I'm saying rest in peace on Twitter. There's some people saying no, it hasn't been confirmed. And then I'm saying Blue Anon being Blue Anon.
This is why you shut down PBS. This is why you pull the licenses from ABC, NBC, and CBS, because they're not providing the neutral service that they're supposed to provide to the country. You have to, through peaceful means and through rightful changing power, these people, it's their time has come.
And the
Their time has come.
universities. I mean,
Yep,
what Trump
yep.
is doing in the universities is absolutely necessary. It must be done. Harvard,
Yes.
Yale, these schools need to be brought under control. Columbia, NYU, UCLA, Berkeley, these schools must be brought. And then I am seeing horrible people being horrible.
Yeah. People, and I see this from, and again, I'll go this from boomers down to young people and everything else on our campuses and on our streets, wearing kippahs and chanting from the river to the sea, right?
Yeah.
Never get called out about that. Okay.
Oh, look, the murders of the young couple in Washington D.C., that poor woman in Colorado who was burnt to death, those children in the Catholic school, was it just last week?
Mm-hmm.
Like
who had "Kill Trump" written on his weapon, right?
Yeah.
All of this anti-left rhetoric, clearly stuff that is verified and was his, right?
Yeah.
Had gone through this trans stuff, was pissed off about all that. We can't talk about that, right? A young woman can get murdered in public transit, right? And if you bring that up, see Brian Stetler on CNN, it's racist. These are just a racist dog whistles to try and bring up this murder, right? We can't tell what a man or a woman is, right? All this stuff has got to end peacefully, with the good, decent people of this country voting out people to try and get into some power, pressuring their own politicians in their states, like J.B. Pritzker and whoever. I don't know who the idiot mayor of Chicago is, where we start actually trying to take control and get safety back into our communities for our families and our children. To not put up with these insanely stupid left-wing ideas that have infiltrated DEI and everything else, which has nothing to do with honest, good, and fair treatment of human beings. Stuff has to end.
Apparently, the shooter hasn't been caught.
Yeah, it's fog of war. You know, until some.
We lost Lance, it looks like.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Just people. I think people need to like get to know their neighbors and stuff like a little bit more. I mean, that's the thing is that anytime there's something like this, it's the instinct is somewhat to shrink back, to go towards the people that you can trust. But, and especially because if there is such real, I mean, there really is a mental, aspect of this thing, and not to say that everybody's mentally ill, but this is like the real. That's the real enchantment. This kind of propagandized thinking, and it needs to be disenchanted. People need to be woke up from a spell, and part of that is that they are just being fed such a steady stream of fear-inducing nonsense that I think that it's like small personal acts of kindness, getting to know people, like that has to become more tangible in these people's lives, and so and I am worried because I do see it on both sides too. Like I do see a lot of the people on the right wanting to retreat from anybody that's not a trusted ally or something, and that's not going to be good either. Then you just get that is what leads to civil war.
Yeah.
If you can't.
So it appears that maybe the news is wrong, and yeah, we are in a tug of war. I mean, a fog of war.
I mean, it seemed like, okay, look, I mean, wait. What? So Trump said that he's dead on Truth Social 4, 6, 7 minutes ago.
I mean, I don't
know. It's crazy that we don't. Yeah, it's crazy that we can't know anything. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, part of the reason I decided to do the stream is because people Wow, this is Trump's official account. I can't imagine he would say this without confirmation, but this is the President of the United States, and yes, the Democrats are bad enough that we have Donald Trump as our president. The great and even legendary Charlie Kirk is dead. No one understood or had the heart of the youth in the United States of America better than Charlie. He was loved and admired by all, especially me, and now he's no longer with us. Melania and my sympathies go out to his beautiful wife, Erica, and his family. Charlie, we love you. Fox apparently is confirming he has passed away.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So,
well, yeah.
I think let's say a few more psalms. Are we doing it in English or in Hebrew?
Well, only one of those is of benefit to me. So,
We'll do English. It's also easier for me to read, although I don't like the Koran translation very much, but I don't like any of the translations very much, but of David, to thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. O my God, I trust in thee. Let me not be ashamed. Let not my enemies triumph over me. Moreover, let none that wait on thee be ashamed. Let them be ashamed who betray without cause. Make me know thy ways, O Lord. Teach me thy paths. Lead me in thy truth and teach me, for thou art the Lord of my salvation. For thee do I wait all the day. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and thy truth, for they have been from of old. Remember not the sins of my youth, nor my transgressions, according to thy loyal love. Remember thou me for thy goodness' sake, O Lord. Good and upright is the Lord. Therefore does he instruct sinners in the way. He directs the humble in justice, and he teaches the meek his way. All the paths of the Lord are mercy and truth to such as keep his covenant and his testimonies. For thy name's sake, O Lord, pardon my iniquity, for it is great. What man is he that fears the Lord? Him shall he teach in the way that he should choose. His soul shall abide in prosperity, and his seed shall inherit the earth. The counsel of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will reveal to them his covenant. My eyes are ever towards the Lord, for he shall pluck my feet out of the net. Turn thee to me, and be gracious to me, for I am desolate and afflicted. The troubles of my heart are enlarged. Oh, bring me out of my distresses. Look upon my affliction and my pain, and forgive all my sins. Consider my enemies, for they are many, and they hate me with a cruel hatred. Oh, keep my soul and deliver me. Let me not be ashamed, for I put my trust in thee. Let integrity and uprightness preserve me, because I wait for thee. Redeem Israel, O God, out of all his troubles. We're gonna keep on going.
Yeah, my kids are gonna be home in a minute, so
There are almost 30 people watching.
well, I'll say a prayer.
Please do.
Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the gift of life that you have given us, and we thank you for every day that we have, that we can spend coming to know you more. And we thank you for the opportunity that we have to speak freely to one another and to discuss the joys of life as well as the tragedies. And at this moment, we are asking for your presence to be felt in this moment of tragedy. We want to lift up the parents of Charlie Kirk and his wife and children, and that you would bring comfort and peace to them in this time. And we pray that you would be glorified through this tragedy, that people would turn from their wickedness and that they would come to know you and that they would follow you, and that this would not be a death in vain, but that it would be used for your glory. And I pray in the name of Jesus. Amen. All right. I'm going to go, but
Go. Thank you for jumping on. We appreciate it. And thank you for the prayer. We appreciate that too. I am going to leave this live stream on. If anybody wants to use it as a chance to discuss, and we I'm not into monologuing, so I am not going to monologue. Hey.
Hey, Jacob, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, my phone overheated. You know, I just wanted to come back on, and I think Charlie sits in a unique space in that he actually had a lot of people. I would throw, Mark Halperin and others who truly liked him and got that he was a good and decent person, like even before all this happened, right? I've been waiting for, and they exist. I know they exist. They just have decided to turn somewhat of a blind eye. They don't really want to address what's really going on because, again, hey, I don't even consider myself a Republican anymore. The Republican Party that existed throughout my lifetime needs to be thrown out, right? So I get that. But it's time for the well-meaning and unhinged left-leaning and Democrats. It's time for them to take control of this, right? It's time for them to speak out. It's time for them to call out mainstream media, their own party, and realize this is not a whataboutism either way. This, if you just open your eyes to the obvious things, there are good and decent people. About 30% of our population, we can tell right now, is fairly unhinged. Lots of age groups, right? And I just hope that those who are the well-meaning and not unhinged Democrats and left people who still are on the left, they have the capability, because if they break from that and force good and decent people and break this stupid, just the propaganda which is getting pushed from their party, they're the ones who could stop this, Jacob.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've said this several times already, and I'll say it again. I have been looking desperately for 8 years for signs that the Democrats, and Jordan Peterson said it very early on. He said, we know when the right goes too far, and we have good limits, and the right polices. The Republican Party has been policing itself in ways that the Democratic Party just is completely incapable of. And until we wrestle with that and recognize that, again, we need at least 2 functional political parties in this country.
Yes.
That until they like the Democrats, and frankly, I think Eric Weinstein, who I consider a friend, has been trying desperately to get the Democratic Party for years to wake up and be realistic and be real. And what his brother recognized, and the Maha movement recognized, and what I even argued with Eric myself, was I just don't see any sign of the Democratic Party being redeemable. And obviously, as a person of faith, I always have hold out hope. It's funny, I almost streamed today about another tweet. I've been spending way too much time on Twitter, but yesterday this pastor responded to a post about Irina being murdered with, I hope she was saved, which I found disgusting.
Yes.
And my response to him was, I don't know which Bible you're reading, but it certainly isn't mine. And he said, what in your Bible contradicts what I said? And here, I'll do the Jacob thing and read my own tweets, because why not? And then afterwards, I saw that Paul Vanderklay actually had also tweeted about Cain, because let me find this tweet. So here it is. Where is it? Okay. My Bible from page 1 starts by explaining that God is just and merciful. The whole point of the first 5 chapters is that Cain was the son of sinners and killed his brother, yet God loves him and desires for him to be eternally saved. Is that how you understand the first 5 chapters of Genesis? Then keep on reading about Noah and Abraham and basically the entire Bible, which is easily summarized in Ezekiel 18. God does not desire the wicked to die. And Paul Vanderklay also tweeted about Cain and the story of Cain, and we keep on going back to the story of Cain. And I have spoken to people who, when I tell them, there are Christians who believe that Cain, like the mark of Cain is damnation, that God hated Cain, right? It's like, some of them are like, really? There are people who believe that? And I'm like, oh yeah. And then I talk to some Christians and I'm like, yeah, like the Bible starts out with the story of a sinner, the son of sinners, who murders his brother, and God says, no, you cannot kill him. That is the first 5 chapters. Like, what's the story there? God creates the world. He creates a man and a wife. They sin. They are divorced from the Garden of Eden. They have 2 children, and one of them kills the other. And God says, whoever sheds his blood shall be avenged 7 times, if I remember correctly. And like, if you don't get that story, which apparently a lot of people don't, if that's not how your Bible starts, I don't know what to say to you. Hello, Ron. How you doing?
Actually, hi, Lance. I also came on, Jacob, just to say, Bubby, how you doing, Bubs? You all right?
I'm doing okay.
Well, I just got done talking a quick second with Grim. He was on because he had the same thought, like something bad, traumatic has happened. Turn on the cameras and give people a chance to talk. So I saw you and I'm like, okay, this might not be good. I don't know if you knew him or your relationship.
I did not know him. I am very proud that Grim had the same idea, and that he is. Unfortunately, I mean, it looks like he only went for 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was quick.
Yeah, but no, that is the reason I started this, was because I knew people would need to talk. I did not know that he had died. Obviously, we've only just gotten that news, but yeah, I mean, look, I didn't know him personally, but he was somebody who gave me hope. You know?
Yeah.
I think if we're serious, the what we're trying to do is help a new generation take over and live in this world, in a sane and better world. You know, I keep on thinking of the preamble to the Constitution, right? Secure the blessings of liberty on ourselves and our posterity, right? And I think as a very young man, he was doing that in a way that I admire, and I think I wish more people would.
Yeah. Were you, what I was around when Kennedy got shot and Martin Luther King, and and I'm not going to drop the J bomb, but pray for the family, pray. Like, I had a buddy at work who was really upset, and I didn't know what was going on. I just came into the shop, and so like, this is a pretty rough crowd. They're not bad, but they're not churchgoers by far. I'm like, let's go. Like, you could either be ticked and angry, or we can pray, because prayer is either nothing and useless, or it's effective. Let's go with it's effective, and you have some agency in here. You can help. And I'll be honest, when I heard he got shot, I'm like, this reminds me of it just reminds me of a Kennedy shooting, or, I'm not, it's the feeling.
Yeah.
It's like anybody who's a rational voice, and it's not because he's Republican. I'm just saying, if you are a rational human being, left or right, someone out there is gonna not like you a lot. So I think that's what I'm feeling right now, and it's disappointing. He had a family, and this is gonna sound so weird, but I really mean it. The person who did the shooting, they ain't right, and it's not going to end well for them. It's not like and what I mean by this is, like, this person has a mother and father that might be affected by this, or friend. And I'm not trying to have mercy, and I'm not trying to have undue sympathy for someone who's doing evil. But what I'm trying to do is not be hateful myself.
Mhm.
And I think it's just, and this is, I don't know if I even want to talk publicly about what I really think and feel, because it's like, really, it's somewhat black pillish, but like, no one was promised a smooth ride. So but if you have good things in your life now, appreciate them, and go out of your way to just go call your mom, go have a beer with your buddies, play with your kids, do something good, pray, and mourn. There's something, it hurts. You see someone good get shot, you're like, okay, this is evil, this is bad, don't like it.
Yeah, I do have to say, look, some people might think this is hyperbolic, but I think Charlie Kirk was a martyr. He lived what a very faithful Christian life.
Yeah.
And he was shot because of that. Because we live in a society where saying reasonable things is dangerous.
Yep.
Truly dangerous. And obviously, I don't want an overreaction, but at the same time, I think it would be an underreaction to not place the blame squarely where it belongs, which is with the people with the irresponsible rhetoric. I mean, somebody just sent me this on to play, and I know it's going to enrage me, but this is MSNBC.
But following up with what was just said, he's been one of the most divisive, especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at
Hmm.
certain groups.
What do you do with that?
No. Jacob, no. Listen, Bubby, listen. I'm going to listen. You're missing the point. Don't expect anything different from people who have been very consistent. I'm being, you got to use the humor, dude. My friends who, they were from Poland, from the 40s. And oh my gosh, they were so much fun when my dad and the people from Temple got together. They would talk politics and stuff like this. But I remember one joke. There's two guys in a firing squad. And I forget exactly how the joke goes, but you'll understand you will understand the punchline. They're about to get killed, and there was some sort of legal, or not even legal problem. They were just like, there's a problem, like something was leaking, and one guy goes to another, goes, "Shh, don't talk, go, be quiet, don't cause trouble." You know what I mean? Like, listen, if you expect anything except what you saw from
MSNBC.
Yeah.
No, we need to be able to say MSNBC is reliably a source of evil in our society.
Okay. Here's the thing, and what I'm doing, everything I'm talking to you about now, I learned from Christianity and doing acid. Dude, so you're just on drugs. It's gonna just back away. Just stop getting in your head. Call out evil. Like, yeah, dude, there's gonna be stupid all over the place. I heard this, and I think it was from Annie Crawford, who's the Tolkien, and seriously, she was talking about horseshoe politics, or described where if you have at the very fringe elements, if ends of both right and left,
Yeah.
they become so. I'm sighing because I'm like, dude, I think all we got now is reasonable people, more conversation, prayer, and duck.
I mean, I hear you. I just, what we cannot do, and I mean, I've also, like, I've been calling out the woke right, and I've been very supportive of James Lindsay calling out the woke right.
Okay.
And there is such thing as a woke right.
Okay.
And I am afraid of the an overreaction and backlash, but that is not, and it's the same with Israel and Gaza, really. And I've said this since the beginning. I don't think Israel is perfect,
Right.
but don't compare them to Hamas. And similarly, and there is a fringe, there is an Israeli fringe, but the Israeli fringe is not in power the way that Hamas is in power in Palestinian society. And
Right.
we have a similar dynamic. The Democrats are our Hamas.
Okay.
They are uncontrolled evil in
Okay.
our society. And we cannot allow this both sidism. The Democrats have their bad people, and the Republicans have their bad people. We have to recognize the Democratic Party for what it is, which is the party of slavery, the party of segregation, the party of the KKK, and now today the party of this indentured servitude, which is illegal immigration.
Listen, Jacob, don't you dare make me defend the Democratic Party. I'll do it. I won't like it. You're pushing me. We the people. No, we the people.
Ah,
No.
The Democratic Party needs. We need two functional, at least two functional political parties in this country The
Yeah.
Democratic Party is not functional. And that's why I brought up Cain. I
Yeah.
have every hope that there will be a redemption of the Democratic Party, but there cannot be repentance and without a recognition and confession of sin, which is the Republican Party. The Republican Party has officially repented of the Southern strategy. Because, of course, the Democrats make the Republicans repent of everything. And as the Christian Party, the Republicans do it.
Right.
The Democrats still have not officially, in any way, recognized that they were for slavery, that they were for segregation,
Right.
that they started the KKK as their own military wing. And
Right.
this is part of that. They are continuing in their ways because they will not and cannot repent.
Okay, aside, and I'm not pushing back. I look for, to be honest, I always look for hope. I always look for, like for me, like right now, people are mourning. They're in shock. And what else? What I want to do is get anger, rage, and fear dealt with properly. And so that anger doesn't manifest rage as well. And I feel in my heart, I feel there's great anger. That's not good. And often it comes, a man was killed.
Yeah.
Let's just start with that. A man was killed. I think this reminds me of when October 7th happened last year.
Yeah.
It was,
It's almost 2 years now.
You need time to mourn. I think both sides.
Okay. So I have to push back, Ron.
Okay. No, I think I'm just.
This is a certain type of Christianity
Yeah.
which turns Jesus into a hippie, and they're who would never have offended anyone.
Right.
And
I was a hippie. Okay, it's me, Jacob.
But Jesus is not. But Jesus was not a hippie.
Okay.
And I keep on. There's a reason we keep on going back to the Psalms, right?
Okay.
And I think for a lot of Christians, it would be great if they could read the Psalms, including the imprecatory Psalms, because I don't think the imprecatory Psalms get read in Christian
Can you
churches.
explain that to me? Can you explain that?
There are songs where you say, God, avenge these people.
Oh, yeah,
pour
yeah.
out your wrath upon them.
Okay. No, I got you.
Right?
Yeah.
There is a place for righteous judgment.
Yeah. Okay.
There is a place for recognizing that people are evil and that we need to stand up and fight against evil. Now, how we do it, right? Obviously, I very much my favorite apostle Paul says we fight not against flesh and blood, right? And obviously there is an aspect of a hope, a spiritual hope, etc., etc., etc. And I really do pray and hope for the redemption of the Democratic Party.
Okay, I do agree with you.
At the same time,
yeah.
If you love your enemy, you have to first realize they are your enemy.
I lost you.
You cannot love your enemy by pretending they're not your enemy.
I agree with you. I think the reason I'm talking the way I am right now is because of dealing. I think I understand what's going on now. I agree with everything you're saying. For me, I think my nature is the, and I want to be careful how they say it, because I usually filter everything I say. I mean, dude, the bullet just hit. The blood just got spilled. People, just something bad could happen real fast. And I'll give you why I'm talking the way I'm talking. When Martin Luther King got shot, I think it was James Brown, the singer, was in Indianapolis, Indiana. He was at a performance, and there was a large crowd, and they were pissed. You know, like, and what he did, there's a video of it too. It hurts my heart even to say this. He said, he's like, people, please calm yourself. He wasn't saying it wasn't, he was preventing a riot, you know, and what I'm preventing is, boys, do not get in the truck, do not load up the
I
truck.
I don't think that's the problem here. I don't think anybody here is going to do anything violent.
Right.
And I think part of doing that is a recognition, and there's a reason I did this stream. I want people to have an opportunity to see that there is a way in which Charlie Kirk's life and his death can be put to good use.
Yeah.
And that includes recognizing the causes of his death and working in rational and good ways towards destroying the Democratic Party. That's the thing. Like, I'm saying, look, if you're thinking the way to destroy the Democratic Party is by going out and shooting someone, obviously that's not true, because assassinations have the opposite effect. The attempt to kill Donald Trump very clearly contributed to him winning the presidency.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
This is very clearly galvanizing the right.
Yeah.
At the same time, right, we have to recognize the Democratic Party doesn't get that message ever.
May I interrupt?
Talk about it. They encourage, like, and apparently some people are now pointing out this Charlie Kirk post from when was this? From April 7th, 2025, right? Assassination culture is spreading on the left. 48% of liberals say it would be at least somewhat justified to murder Elon Musk. 55% said the same about Donald Trump. In California, activists are naming ballot measures after Luigi Mangione. The left is being whipped into a violent frenzy. And any setback, whether losing an election or losing a court case, justifies a maximally violent response. This is the natural outgrowth of left-wing protest culture, tolerating violence and mayhem for years on end. The cowardice of local prosecutors and school officials have turned the left into a ticking time bomb. And, I mean, unfortunately, his words were prophetic.
Yeah. Can I ask, I would like to ask some very simple questions.
Okay.
Who was the shooter? How do we know he is, and I'm asking because I don't know. Who is he? How do we know his politics is left? How do we know he's not insane?
Well, okay, so for when I first started this stream, there was somebody who was taken into custody. I saw a video of him being taken into custody.
Yeah.
He was a boomer, and we did discuss that somewhat. Now I am seeing reports saying that the person taken into custody was not the shooter, and Apparently, it's possible the shooter is still at large,
Okay.
which is terrifying.
Yeah, no, I got you. Lord, get
And
him.
but when it comes down to it, and we did discuss this in multiple ways. Look, we see a culture of of encouraging violence on the left. This is very well documented. The Democrats have as part of their political party, and Jordan Peterson has been saying this for years. He keeps on asking Democratic politicians,
Right.
where is the line?
Yeah.
Where do you
Right.
cut the line? And Democrats do not have a line. Punch a Nazi. I mean, this has been going on for years because it is part of the culture of the Democrats. And I have to say, when you talk about MLK riots, it has been a part of Democratic culture
I'm not saying it's not
violent for hundreds of years in our country.
Okay, I'm just asking, who is this shooter? I mean,
We don't.
okay, and see, I think, why, Jake, my heart's hurting, not all the time,
Yeah.
and it's like, and you guys in the corner taught me this critical thinking, or at least I'm learning a little bit of it, and it's even in the Old Testament. You know, the accuser sounds good until he's cross-examined, and so, not that I don't listen, not that I disagree with anything you're saying, but do we know this is politically motivated? And I'm sorry to be asking.
Look, no, these are questions to be asked. At
Right.
the same time, when questions like this are asked. So, for example, I played a clip of MSNBC saying it's possible that the shooter was a Charlie Kirk person fan celebrating shooting off a gun in celebration. Is that a possibility? Okay, maybe. But let's be real.
Yeah.
Let's be real. And it's not just Charlie Kirk, right? But let's go back and talk about the assassination of Donald Trump, right? And that's one of the reasons I started in this stream talking about Blue Anon and the fact that over a year ago, over a third of Democrats believed that the assassination attempt on Trump was faked.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I got you.
I sincerely believe a majority of Democrats, I don't have the data, but it stands to reason, believe, and I hear it. I mean, I hear it at my own Shabbat table, right, with my family.
Yeah.
There's somebody who actually was arguing that there was no assassination attempt on Trump because he listens to these types of things. So, yes, you can ask these questions, and it's fine to ask these questions. What I object to is the idea that there can be no answer to these questions.
Oh, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
And actually getting to the point where after all of these years, and it's been 8 years of these types of discussions, where we as a community recognize the problem that is the Democratic Party.
Okay. Now, what if I said to you, I agree?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking up at a blue sky and I got green grass in the background. It's pretty peaceful here. I have been not in peaceful places in my life. And I think I go back to, I don't like it. There's a bad, man, okay. I got to figure out what to say and how to say it correctly. I totally agree with you. So how do you do it with without everything going boom?
Oh, I think even the presumption that the only way is things going boom
Okay.
actually originates from the Democrats, right? The Democrats
All right.
uh, are part of their narrative is, look, this is your two options. Either we put up with the Democrats being the evil that they are, or you be evil. I don't think those are your two options. You have the option of doing what hopefully I am doing here, right? Which is galvanizing, and I did this throughout the election time, right? Galvanizing behind the types of strategies that Donald Trump is putting into effect right now, and Charlie Kirk did. There's a reason they murdered Charlie Kirk. He was effective,
Correct.
right? And so what Donald Trump is doing as president, and has been, is great. Defunding NPR and PBS. That
Right.
has moved the ball forward.
Right.
The the reinstatement of ICE and actually having borders.
Yeah. Right.
That's a good thing. And frankly, I think our contribution here, right now, there's about 30 people listening, right,
Yeah.
is to sense make and be willing to understand that there's something different, that the Democrats are the party of violence, pushing violence, that our universities, a lot of our professions,
Yeah.
and a lot of our important institutions like the New York Times, like the New Yorker, like the Atlantic, these are important institutions like Harvard, like Columbia. I could name many, many institutions. So recognizing what is the rot and corruption in those, and working towards, and people have been talking about the rot in our judiciary, right? So we can, and we definitely should, work to get rid of the rot. But part of that is both recognizing that there is rot there,
Yeah.
and second um, is being willing to say, okay, we're going to work towards this. We are going to work towards ending this way of operating in our society that the Democrats have been doing for hundreds of years.
All right. I had a thought while you were talking, and I like what you're saying. And then I'm not. Well, you mentioned you thought. I think you're right. Charlie Kirk is a martyr. I think right now, and I'll say it here pretty bluntly. He has. I think it is. Is it a martyr's crown that you receive? It's a martyr's reward.
I believe that's what Christians say. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That's what I mean. Yeah. Right. That's what I'm getting at. And it's also when you have blood spilled, that's actually seems to be the breeding ground for a revival of sort, a spiritual. This is from a Christian perspective.
Yeah.
It's where it seems like the blood of the martyrs is what helps the seed grow.
Yeah.
And so, this isn't because Stephen, I believe, was the first martyr. And then
that is, yeah, Act 7 is,
yeah. So, that my only hope is that, okay, God, Satan took out not just a pawn, but a real someone of use in the kingdom to bring peace. Or so if you take someone out, make something grow from it. You know, it's the opposite of the mafia eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth thing. Well, if you make one person die, then bring two people back to life.
Mm.
In some, you know, break the hearts of the Democrats. Let the Democrat go, okay, this is stupid. You know, or quite a few of them go, okay,
I
this is,
definitely hope for that. I just want to address this.
yeah,
Caleb, I have been very clear in the people I have been accusing. Um, it and I am naming and shaming the people I am accusing very clearly. So this is not some vague they that I am talking about. MSNBC as an institution, the New York Times as an institution, the Democratic Party as an institution, these are evils in our society. So yeah. Okay. Glad. I mean, I also think Lance has also been very clear. I'm just hoping that this will change hearts. Anybody who voted for the Democrats in the previous election, anybody who still believes MSNBC is not a source of evil in our society, who does not recognize that it is the modern day equivalent of the Daily Stormer, like der Stürmer, the Nazi propaganda machine. Same thing, frankly, unfortunately, by NPR and PBS, right?
right.
I hope that this will change their minds and hearts towards recognizing the evil that exists in these organizations and being willing to speak out against them, not in a way of it's, oh, the Republicans and Democrats are the same. They're not the same. The Democratic Party is intolerably acting in ways that should not be acceptable in our society. And we need to be able to police that. And all reasonable people of good faith should be working together to remove, precisely as we would with the Nazis, with fascists. Like, why can't we get rid of communists like we do fascists? Because the Democratic Party is so broken. That's why.
Are they communist? Have they been gamed?
Many people. I mean, race Marxism is a real thing. James Lindsay and Local Distance have been, and Chris Rufo and others have been clearly documenting this. The problem remains, frankly, that the boomers, the people who grew up trusting the New York Times, still trust the New York Times. And that's it. We have to move forward, and we have to recognize that the New York Times is no longer a reliable source of information.
Right.
And anybody who listens to MSNBC, who thinks that this is not propaganda, is somebody who has been completely co-opted by an ideology which in its fruits is evil.
Right, I agree with you. So my question is, has it been the Democratic Party been gamed?
I think it definitely has been gamed. But part of the reason it has been possible to game it is because the history of the Democratic Party, there's a reason I go all the way back to the Civil War. This is 100 years of the Democrats being violent racists.
As far as that one, I'll just let go. Like, I don't have one way or another to say about that. I'm just looking at what things are right now. Because when you showed me that clip of MSNBC, I was prepared to be appalled. If I had not been prepared, I would have been pissed. Because the man's not even dead a few hours, and you're already through. I'm like, what kind of monster are you when you
Well,
can't
the type
even?
of monster that MSNBC is.
That's what I'm saying. No,
Yes.
that I'm agreeing with you. I am. Yeah, when we were kids, when someone, let's say a Democrat was in office and a Republican died, everyone would shut up and say, "Today we honor so and so," and it was, at least for a day. You didn't talk crap about them, and you let them be buried. And I don't even see that anymore.
Yeah, a loyal opposition went out. I keep on pointing this out. The word bork is a verb in the dictionary. That's an actual human being's name.
Bork, as in Tolkien bork?
No, B-O-R-K.
Ah.
B as in boy, Bork.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm forgetting Bork's first name for some reason. It'll come to me. But he was a very widely respected professor of law and lawyer and judge who was appointed to the Supreme Court. And Robert Bork, thank you. He was borked. That's where his last name became a verb, right? He was borked by the Democrats, and I mean you can look it up. This was in '82.
What's it mean?
It means to. Well, here let's actually pull up the dictionary. Here's what Merriam-Webster says. Bork, verb, variance, or less commonly with a capital B. Borked, also borked, borking, borks. Transitive verb, U.S. politics informal. To attack or defeat a nominee or candidate for public office unfairly through an organized campaign of harsh public criticism or vilification. It was 1987. This is what, almost 40 years ago? I mean, again, I have to say, if you know the history, which obviously most, like the establishment, places like New York Times and MSNBC and CNN, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, they have a narrative which is completely untrue.
Okay.
Hello,
all
Dan.
right. Hey, Dan.
Hey, guys. Good to see you.
Hey, Dan, I gotta go.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, I'll stay. Okay, no, no, please. I can wait. I can pull out a few minutes. Or, yeah, go for it.
So I didn't get it to read what all the stuff you wrote in the chat. So do you want to summarize for us, or should I read what you wrote?
You can read. I just put a couple comments in there. The reason I said, oh no, Ron, is twofold. One, because I love the chat, but also I can't stay very long. And so I didn't want to be in the position of having to hold down forward here with Jacob. Those are big shoes to fill, even for two men. Let's be real.
He's got big feet. He's a hobbit.
Yeah, I do have big feet, to be fair. But yeah, I mean, so feel free to read my comments. I guess the thing that I just wanted to say is, I know there's controversy as to who is and who isn't TLC, but putting that aside for the moment, I think it's important. We're going to have some real conversations about what masculinity looks like in the current moment. We are in a I think back on Jordan Hall's comments recently, maybe a month ago, talking about war. And, metaphysically, sure, war can be kinetic, but war isn't only kinetic. War goes on at a lot of different levels of reality at any given time. And the psychological aspect of that is huge. So for those of us that are friends or husbands or fathers, what does that look like? Where do we draw the line between what is vigilance and what is kind of not praying the serenity prayer well? In other words, trying to affect change that you can't actually affect. Kind of like where's the dividing line between our influence, our sphere of influence, and our sphere of responsibility, and knowing that those things shift over time, knowing what we may pass off to the next generation. All these things we have to kind of triangulate if we're going to act intelligently and rationally and in a spiritually discerning way. And I haven't been impressed with, I guess, the depth of conversation with respect to that. I'm not trying to take pot shots at anybody, but I think that's kind of a third rail, like masculinity in reality, not just in theory. Mm-hmm. And this was typified, I think, in large part in the somewhat controversial conversation between Roger and Elizabeth Oldfield. When she the prior day, I was very impressed with her, and I agreed with most of what she had to say. But lurking in the background of all that, I had this tension within me that said, yeah, that's all great, Elizabeth, but it all kind of presupposes that the people that you're bringing in have this shared ethos, which we know that they don't have, right? And it's all kind of like teetering on that for me. And then the following day, when they spoke a little bit more directly, I think that was on full display. And I had an analogy.
Well, those videos aren't out yet, so I haven't seen them. Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, I guess my summary would be, I think Rod was kind of representing like an archetypical masculine position, and she was embodying perhaps like an over feminized or perhaps an exploited feminine urge to bring in and to nurture. And I thought, like, I know that they don't live in the same country, et cetera, but if you'll just give me the latitude for this, if they represent a husband and a wife, and both parties share a home together or a country together or whatever it may be, I think if either, like if someone's on the front porch at my home and they knock on the door and my wife says, hey, somebody's at the door, and I say, don't let them in, she needs to not let them in. Yeah. Okay. Because if she's wrong about their intentions, then the best case scenario is actually pretty bad. Like if I prevail, well, great, but that's really a bad scenario. And if they prevail, well, that's really even worse. So, I think as much as I wanted to feel good about the fact that they had a conversation that was respectful and that it didn't blow up, I do think they left the deepest levels of it untouched. So that's what I wanted to say. And I hope the Hive Mind and future conversations, we can kind of really get at this in a meaningful way. So thanks for letting me on, Jacob. Regrettably, I must depart, but it's good to see you, gentlemen. And
thank you for joining. I appreciate your contribution.
Yeah, thank you.
Sure.
Take care, guys.
So, I mean, there was a lot there, which I agreed with. There was some references which, I mean, not having seen, I can't really comment on too much, but I will definitely say the masculine feminine thing is definitely a part of this, and frankly, I think it talks to what we were talking about, like this hippie Jesus or feminized Jesus. Or,
I like that. I actually, I'm asking you, God, it seems like, all right, and I'm asking, is the Democratic Party becoming feminine? And I mean, in like gender, like mostly, and then
Well, I mean, so we have these two categories, right?
Yeah.
And for my Trinitarian friends who are constantly talking about, oh, monism versus Trinitarianism, right? And why things have to be Trinitarian. I keep on telling them, your problem is your three, right? What do you have against two and what do you have against four, right? There are things which have to be two, and there are things which have to be three, and there has to be things that are four or five or six, right? And that's why the biblical language for what they point at is the one and the many. The Bible itself talks about the conflict between the one and the many, right? And there is a necessity of the many, right? Which is very different from the one. And ultimately, I think part of this is not recognizing the need for opposition, right? For the left hand and the right hand, the male and the female. I think since feminism started defining women as just deficient men, as opposed to some people who have a contribution to society which is different from that of men,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And where we made the men the women of the year, right?
Yeah.
So there is a lot of confusion in our society, and I mean, you're listening to Jacob. I'm gonna say it. It really gets down to Galatians and Paul of Tarsus saying there is no Jew or Greek,
Right.
male or female, slave or free in Christ Jesus. Well, the understanding that most people have of that sentence, you can say it, you can explain it in a way that is reasonable,
Okay.
but
Give me the reasonable one, please.
the reasonable one is that there are ways in which before God we are all equal.
Right.
That does not mean we are the same.
Right. Okay.
Right?
Yep.
That is
I
the
agree.
reasonable interpretation of that.
Yeah. I
That
like
is
that.
not the interpretation that most people have on a first reading. And we're going to always
Really.
get down to the problem, right? You're listening to Jacob. The problems ultimately are theological. The problems are the Trinity, are not distinguishing between Jew and Gentile, and not recognizing that there is hierarchy, right?
Okay.
And male and female, like these things go down to the very core of our society.
I agree with you.
Of who we are. And if your interpretation of Paul of Tarsus is Father Stephen DeYoung's interpretation,
What is that?
well, it's, I mean, if you listen to my, we've had hours and hours of streams.
In
And
nutshell.
frankly, I have his book, right? And he's translated the letters of Paul in the back in somewhat a different manner than people generally do. So if you have that view, I think that's a view that I can live with. The view of Paul that so many, specifically Protestants, have, ultimately I don't think is something I can live with. And the understanding of the equality of men. So if you understand Paul to be as sexist as he appears to be, where you reject him and then you end up with this weird thing, which is modern feminist Christianity, which hates Paul and reads him as as a misogynist, or where you read him as being completely what's called egalitarian,
Right.
where men and women are interchangeable,
Okay.
right? That's also a problem.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, I think there's a reason I think Paul within Judaism is what is the only thing I find tolerable, which is Paul within Judaism is a bunch of scholars going back and trying to interpret Paul. And this is it's a philosophical school of New Testament studies called Paul within Judaism, where they are trying to understand Paul as a Jew and Jesus as a Jew, right? And that is a complete reinterpretation. And my biggest problem with that is the people who do it are unwilling to recognize for thousands of years the Christian church has definitely not viewed Paul in that way.
You know what's so weird? I agree with you, but I feel like I'm seeing some people at least seeing him that way. At least the ones I'm friends with.
In which way?
As a Jewish person.
Well, I mean, to give Father Stephen DeYoung his due, he believes that his interpretation of Paul is not anything new. He believes that it is how the church fathers properly understood Paul, and how certainly the liturgy of the Eastern Orthodox Church understood Paul. And frankly, if the rest of the Christians go along with that, I'm perfectly happy to see that. The fact of the matter is, I mean, I half jokingly say it, and I half jokingly, not jokingly say it. I think once the Christians understand what Father Stephen DeYoung is really about, they're going to martyr him too.
Okay, explain it to the guy in the back of the class, please.
I think what he is saying is very revolutionary.
Be specific, please, because I don't understand.
Well, part of it is his reading of Romans 9, 10, and 11, where he does not understand like Jews as in somebody like me, right? Being part of the branches which were cut off.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would find that very offensive, because I obviously reject the idea that Jesus is God or anything like that. Right. And I just think once the details get out of precisely how he views Jews, Judaism, and the Old Testament, really, for a lot of people, that's going to be absolutely revolutionary and offensive.
And I'm sorry for being so dull. I don't understand.
It's not dull. It's just there's so many different things. I think that people who pay attention will be like, that's not the Paul I know. That's not the Christianity I know.
See, for me, okay, can you give me just the bullet points of what why you think he would be such a target?
First and foremost, for the churches that you've gone to, the idea that Jesus did not that Jesus is not did not take on the penal substitutionary atonement. He rejects, right? The idea that your sins were transferred onto Jesus, and he took on your suffering for your sins.
Okay, so Father Stephen D. Young does not ascribe to penal substitution atonement, correct?
Correct.
Oh, okay. And next, please, because I didn't know. I'm listening.
And another thing is, he does not believe that Jews who, well, he says because of communal issues, but ultimately he believes that if by some miracle a whole community, a whole church, a whole synagogue were to convert to Christianity, he believes that they would continue circumcising their children and not eating pork and wearing tefillin and wearing tzitzit and all of the things, right?
Right. Okay.
Although I have to say that's he's also sees it very differently from Messianics.
Right.
It's very difficult. Frankly, I think he has been describing what he believes very clearly for years now, and I think the vast majority of Christians are just not in a place to understand the significance of a lot of the things that he says, and so they can't be outraged. But once
I understand you, then I'll be under. Then I'll be upset.
Yeah, exactly.
So, that's so. Give me, and please, thank you. By the way, what other? Give me one more bullet point, because penal substitution, not giving up tradition.
Well, not only not giving up tradition, but and here I'll give you the third knockout punch: the monarchical trinity. So he very clearly says that when we say I believe in one God the Father, that's what we mean. The one God is the Father. That is God.
Yes. Okay. What's the problem?
Most Trinitarians would find that.
Can I be honest? Like, now that it's just me and you and the internet,
yeah,
I don't care.
And our best 30 friends watching, yeah.
Right. I think, and this is just me talking, because I've had I think they're all idiots, and I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm going to beat you up if you don't believe in my Jesus. Like, you need to smoke some weed. But, yeah, and okay, but all kidding aside, it's always confused me when people, even people that have been in churches I've been, they really take the Trinity like it's a heresy if you don't believe in the Trinity. I'm like, dude, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. What you gonna do with that?
Okay, I mean, in most churches you would get kicked out, like Sam has been several times.
Well, here's the thing: it really, and I am now going on a tangent, and this is just my subjective experience after what I believe I met God. With that, you know what I mean. I want to be polite here. What I met would be very disappointed if you were arguing about him like that instead of loving each other. But anyhow, I don't know if that sounds too. I don't know how that sounds. But
look, ultimately, part of the problem, I think, remains that Christians don't understand the value and possibility of real argument and disagreement in a loving environment where you can say to someone, you are wrong, what you say is evil, but that doesn't mean I'm going to kill you.
Right, I agree with you. Okay. Like, in fact, let's go out and get something to eat.
Yeah.
No, I got you.
I was truly shocked when I found out the degree to which Christians will not so much as pray together with people who they disagree with in tiny small ways. So I heard just yesterday James White say, if you're praying with someone you're not in communion with, you're
I'm
like,
sorry, Jacob. I'll mute myself.
no, I mean the idea that you wouldn't even pray with someone that you're not in communion with,
Man.
have you lost your mind?
Yeah. Dude, you know what's sad, Jacob? You know what's really sad? When me and you start agreeing on a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
and we got problems. Like when we
What?
become the voice, this is not good, Jacob. I'm very disappointed with everybody. We need to, I don't know what we need, but we need something. But that's messed up. I think,
So my dear friend, maybe I won't name him, but somebody a lot of you guys know says to me, Jacob, you say these things that sound outlandish, but once people listen to you, they like it. When I actually hear what you're saying, you're not actually saying anything that controversial. You make a lot of sense. So just stop saying it in a controversial way. And my response to him has been, look, until I say it in a controversial way, people are not actually going to hear what I say. And you have to say it in the controversial way. I think this is part of the problem. Like, until I say something like, one of my favorites is, if by Christian you mean someone who follows the teachings of Jesus, the only Christians I know are Orthodox Jews. People are like, what are you even saying?
shots fired by Jacob.
Exactly. But it's actually not a crazy thing to say. And anybody who knows enough about Christianity and history, like, there's a reason why. Here, I'll play one of the quotes that I love the most. But here, let me find this quote really quick. This is a clip I made of Mike Winger speaking. Here, share this tab. Let me put it on the screen. So this is Mike Winger. He is a very, very popular. I mean, I think he has like millions of followers. Yeah, he has 900,000 subscribers. Okay. Listen to what this guy is saying, and then tell me that he is a Christian more than Orthodox Jews.
So details about Jesus fulfilling the law and how it impacts Gentiles, a lot of that stuff's going to come later because his ministry was not to the Gentiles. And this is a point I want to bring up a few scriptures to make. This is huge. When I'm reading Jesus' teachings in Matthew 5, he is not talking to Gentiles. He's talking to Jews. It's not after the new covenant. It's before the new covenant. It sets the stage for the new covenant. Remember when Jesus said in Matthew 15:24, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So that when he heals this non-Israeli woman's concern, then he does so. Her daughter needs to get healed. He does so as an exception to the rule that he only goes to the Jews and not the Gentiles. Remember when he sent his disciples out, Matthew 10:5? He tells them, not Matthew 5, Matthew 10:5. I read this one earlier for you, but he tells them, go nowhere among the Gentiles and interfaith.
So, I mean, you can go listen to the rest of this if you want. This is like 105,000 views. He said this six years ago. Like, this is where Christianity is, right?
Well, now wait, if I may, and this is, I mean, dude,
Uh,
I don't think he.
Jason really hates this clip, but
I'm sorry.
Jason, do you know Jason?
No, I don't. I don't. Maybe I don't.
Oh, I did my Bible study with him for a long time until he got married and decided he likes his wife more than he likes me. I don't know why.
Congratulations, Jason.
he says, I hate this clip. You know how much I hate it, Jacob. Mike Winger is adult, divisive. Don't listen to Mike Winger. And apparently you do know Jason.
Well, I mean, I've seen this guy once or twice before. He doesn't thrill me. I'm like, whatever. I blow by him. It's not a big.
I'm not nitpicking though.
Right. I guess what I was saying is, this is my pushback. As far as Christianity goes, it's a large body, and YouTube is just, it doesn't give you the best of, you know what I mean? And when I say a large body, I mean Orthodox, Catholic, Protestant. There's going to be at least one real Christian. Could be in Bangladesh. Don't know.
I have to say, there's a reason I have to clip these things, because the Christians I talk to generally, but then I talk to other Christians and they're like, yeah, they actually believe a lot of this stuff. So like my general thing to Christians is, hey, how about you guys figure it out amongst yourselves?
Oh, no, don't you? No, because no, that's not fair.
Why is that not fair?
Because we're adopted Jews, and as an original guy, we know where there's two Jews, there's three opinions. Cut it out.
Okay, so this has been my major point, specifically with Gideon, who is a Catholic. He also comes from a Jewish family and converted to Catholicism.
Okay.
And he's been on my channel several times.
Okay.
And he has a pretty big channel, a much bigger audience than I do. And my big thing, and he went on another Catholic channel and he quoted me actually, is, yeah, but there's a big difference. We don't believe the Messiah has come. We don't believe we're living in the new covenant of Jeremiah 31, where it says, man shall know, from the least to the greatest, man shall not have to teach man to know God, because everyone will know God, right? So, it's not fair measures, because Christians claim that something has changed, right? And the fact is, I mean, the cope has been, since Jesus died 2,000 years ago, Jesus is in heaven and he's guiding everything.
No, he's here now.
And he's in your heart.
That's right.
Making things perfect.
Oh, wait, we're getting ruined.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Well, and you know what's curious, if I may?
Yeah.
Because I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm not pushing back. Yeah, dude, I'm gonna give you my spiel, and then you'll. Well, but it is like I do appreciate, like when I first met you, dude, you came up from the deep and you almost swallowed me up. I'm like, oh, dude, it was you. Paul Vanderklay said, yeah. And
he's constantly maligning me as this monster.
And it's true.
I'm the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, no, I didn't say you're not nice, but you do come up from the deep theologically, and because I didn't know.
It's not me, it's Judaism. I'm just quoting a bunch of rabbis.
Yeah. All right. Well, presentation, Jacob, presentation, but there was. But someone else come in and save the stream.
No, so I mean,
because you were, yeah. Okay, you're doing your thing, and it's so subjective, and I do realize it. when you said, yeah, you were making light of it, like it comes into your heart and he changes you. And that's what happened to me. And I'll be honest, it's confusing. It was totally confusing at first, but I realized there's no proving faith. Maybe I can show it though, because you don't know who I was. If you knew the person I was in my English my grammar feels all wonky, sorry. My past is not who I am. If my past had not changed, if I would be dead or burned out. I'm not.
I hear you, and so let me steel man you, and you tell me if I'm putting it correct.
I appreciate it.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, and I have heard this from many people, including Dr. Michael Brown, who's very famous.
Yeah.
Right? Which is they were in a place of incredible darkness.
Yeah.
Involved in sins and including things that were very destructive, including drugs, including a lot of things. Yeah. And they had an encounter with Jesus, which really did change their life towards the better in a very important way.
Yep.
I have zero problems with that. That is I believe 100% in line with what Maimonides explains in chapter 11 of the Laws of Kings and Wars, which is how he ends his magnum opus, his great codification of the entirety of Judaism, right? And he talks about how God uses specifically, and he names Jesus, right? In order to bring people closer to himself, right? And I have zero problems with that because I believe God uses everything, right? Exactly as Joseph says to his brothers about their kidnapping him and selling him, right? He says, what you thought for evil, God accounted for good, right? That doesn't change the fact that as much as, and I celebrate the Jews who were raised in a dead atheistic Judaism, which most Jews are, Reform and conservative, which the rabbi certainly doesn't believe in God, that's for sure, right? And I celebrate that they've come closer to believing in God. Andrew Clavin, you, Dr. Michael Brown, Gideon, all of these people have become closer to what I believe to be true Judaism by leaving those, what I believe to be false Jewish religions, into a Christianity which is a step forward. And I constantly say the Trinity, 3 gods, is an infinite improvement to the many more gods that Gentiles had before Christianity. You guys have moved definitely forward, right? It is definitely an improvement. But I'm just trying to help you with the next step.
Right. No, I got you. No, it's a weird. I don't know if I have been, and I say this jokingly, corrupted or de-siloed because of TLC, or actually it's actually, I'll be honest, I think I've been this way all my life. Like when I say I know God, and after that, I don't care if you're Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant, or like me, I think it's more of the fruits of the Spirit, and then Jacob. It's just what I've experienced. And it's so hard. I can't prove it ever. And I think anyone who's willing to really argue about it in a mean way, that's usually an indicator to me that they really don't know God.
Mm.
And I'm like, I'm out. With you, it's fun, you know. It's a good. This is this reminds me of a in a galaxy far, far away around the table, where you'd have a good meal and argue all night long, and really have a good time doing it too. It's because it's not for nothing either. It's not just arguing. There's something's getting worked out. And I wonder about his mercy, not doubting it, but just the depths of it.
It
And
Ki l'olam chasto. Hodu Lashem ki tov ki l'olam chasto. Give unto God or thank God, for He is good, for His loving kindness endures forever.
right, yeah.
And to bring this back to where we started, like if you believe God loved Cain,
That's it. Yes.
then you, I think, ultimately end up rejecting the Christian message, which is that Jesus had to die for God to save anyone.
What if he didn't save? What if he didn't save anyone? What if it was not so much penal, the substitution,
Yeah.
the swap out? What if it was a restoration to original value?
That would be good if that would be good if it was also the Christian story, which is that the Jews. So the Christian story is the Jews went astray, right?
Yeah.
And for almost all of them,
They
have at least a soft
mankind. And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's not just Jews; it's everybody's running amok.
Yeah, but God, there is at least this soft supersessionism of the God got tired of the Jews, and Christianity came, right? And but Ron, when you became a Christian, nobody said, hey, you have now found Jesus, and you're not taking drugs, and you're not doing all of these horrible things, and you're not eating pork anymore or shellfish, or you're putting on tefillin every day, right? You're putting on tzitzit, right? Jesus wore tefillin. Jesus wore tzitzit.
Yeah.
So what happened there, Ron?
I'm not. No. I am Samaritan, bro.
How are you Samaritan?
Dude, I'm a half breed.
What does that mean?
Your mom and this is when I met you, Jacob Federacci.
Hold on, you're telling me your mom wasn't Jewish?
Correct. That's when I met you, and you came up from the deep to eat my brain.
I said know your mom wasn't Jewish.
A long time. Yes, correct. Yeah, from Belgium. And that's when you came up to eat my head. You're like, you're not Jewish. And I'm like, well, yes, I am. You're like, no, you're not. Your mom's not Jewish. Therefore, you're not Jewish.
I don't remember saying that to you specifically. And that's weird because I was very convinced you were Jewish.
Well, my dad's Jewish, and I was bar mitzvahed. I was raised.
That's how I remember. Is it
Yeah.
possible you were listening to me talk to someone else and said that and you applied it to yourself?
No. And
Okay.
I apologize if this is coming across wrong or hurtful. It's just what I remember. So
Okay.
and dude, I will be careful on my memory.
Yeah.
But I thought you said a long
Yeah.
time ago when we first met
Yeah.
that I told you my dad's Jewish, my mom was Catholic, converted,
Okay.
and you said that I'm not Jewish because Judaism is determined from the lineage of the mother and not the father.
And I only recognize Orthodox conversions.
You didn't say that. Okay.
You can convert to Judaism, but
Yeah.
you have to do it through an Orthodox rabbinic court, which would require, observance of Shabbat and kosher and
Yeah.
all
That
that
one-
stuff.
Right. But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So then you said then you're not Jewish, and I'm like, oh yes, I am. So when I said just now to I was goofing around when you said, how was it? Because we were talking about Jesus wearing the tzitzit, the tefillin.
Yeah.
And why am I not doing that? And I'm like, my defense.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, is that I'm Samaritan, and we don't have to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if your mom was not Jewish, then you don't. Then sounds good.
Okay, so, and then it goes back to Jesus.
But that goes back to me believing Christianity is great for Gentiles because it has in fact led to like the pagan world being more Judaized, but this is what Maimonides said. And the difference is that hopefully, I believe that Christians view God through a glass darkly, to quote Paul.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And eventually, when the actual Messiah comes and they recognize the role of Israel, and by Israel, I don't mean the nation, the modern state of Israel. I mean the religious nation that is Israel. When they recognize that, then there will be a more full understanding and a more full appreciation of the Torah, of God's revelation at Sinai, which for the past 2,000 years, Christianity has not had.
Right, because it's not about it's not Sinai.
It's not Sinai. It's not recognizing the role of Israel as the firstborn of the nations, not recognizing the priestly role of Israel.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I give you that.
Most Christians think of themselves as Israel, and that's wrong.
Right. It's funny. A lot of the people I know, very pro. They're not too far away from that, to be actually. I'm reading something here from Sandy. I remember the conversation with Jack. Person is over my. No, it's so weird, Jay, because you present a good case, and it's actually more hopeful than I had expected. It's that's interesting. So I'm on the right track. But I think Judaism as a whole, at least for me, and Christianity is a zero-sum game. It's like Vegas. And if I'm wrong, I'm just putting out what I think. It's like red or black on roulette.
Mm.
And if that's really if that's not right, I struggle with that. I never want to play footloose or fancy free with God. Of all the things I will ever be serious about and put every effort into, that's it. If anything else, I really don't care. Family, serious, friendships, job, I'll try, but whatever. But God, it's lock and load, being frosty, and taking it seriously. So these kind of conversations, I take real serious and I take to heart. So especially in times like this, like
Yeah.
what I've learned from the corner about I'm not saying end times biblically, but it just whatever transition we're in or whatever kind of crazy we're in, it's three things that will get you through the crazy: faith, a serious faith, having your family or friends like close to you, face to face. I'm glad to talk to you, but I'm at church and I'm going to go hang out with people. What was the three things? It was faith.
Can I give a summary and you tell me if you think it's right?
All right.
The first commandment, the greatest commandment, and the first commandment is, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one,
Right.
and love the Lord your God with everything you have."
Yeah.
And the second is like that first,
Yeah.
which is love your fellow man as yourself.
Yes.
And doing those two things in faithful obedience to God
Yeah.
is what will, in fact, I highly
Yeah.
recommend Mark 12 to everyone.
And that is?
Mark 12 is where Jesus says that.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Dude, I just go to church. I don't know.
I was quoting Jesus right now.
Thank you. Hey, appreciate it, bud.
Of course,
No,
Jesus was quoting Hillel,
yes.
but Christians don't seem to generally know that.
Well, they're adopted. All right. Let's be gentle. Jacob, it has been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, yes.
So,
Go pray. Be with your church fellows. Pray for me too,
I will.
and pray for our nation.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like, Lord, and I'm not going to drop a J bomb here, but
It's
I will.
perfectly fine to drop a J bomb. You can
Well,
talk about Jesus.
yeah.
I will not be offended. People, Michael Sartori prayed in Jesus' name, and I did not kick him off my stream.
You know what, Jacob? Just the fact that we're talking like this, there's hope. There might, it just takes a seed or just a little bit. Like we're too stubborn to quit. That's it. We're like, that's the, how did you wait? What they try. Oh, wait. They tried to kill us. We survived. Let's see.
Yeah.
All right. Shalom.
Shalom. Be
Bye,
well.
Bobby. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. I do want to leave this open for anybody who has reluctantly been waiting to come on and talk. So I am going to sit here silently. Yoav.
Hello,
מה שלומך?
I'm fine. It is 1:30 a.m. here.
Aha.
Again, you're not you're not contributing to the quality of my sleep.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry for you in America for what has happened.
Thank you.
To tell you the truth, I have no idea who you were talking about. My knowledge of American politics is not as accurate. I just don't know who you were talking about, but I get the general picture.
Mm.
And I have heard you speaking in a very extreme way before. I don't remember you speaking as extremely as today.
Mm.
And for once, I agree with you. Your analysis is correct. I mean, I don't know the details of American history and politics, but I can see the general picture. And one reason that I can see the general picture is that the situation in Israel is extremely similar. And as they say, I find your lack of faith disturbing. You cannot bring yourself to realize how much of a godly intervention there is in the current Israeli history. You keep saying secular Israel and sinning Israel. Sometimes you miss the godly intervention, which exists at the moment in biblical quantities. The event of the last years are as biblical as anything that I read. For example, your suggestion that Hamas was making a distinction between peace-loving Israelis and others, on no level were them ever making any distinction.
You don't think so?
The high-ranking, the planners, were obviously, I mean, it is documented, they were planning to kill everybody. Maybe in stages, but they were planning to kill everybody. The man in the street that was actually doing the massacre, they were not sophisticated enough. They just couldn't
I agree with that.
one settlement to another.
Yeah, no, I agree that there wasn't an actual command, but I think the planners realized where what they were doing was going to have an impact on specifically radicalizing the left in Israel.
I don't think that there was, according to the plan, there was not time enough for what they wanted to inflict is despair.
Mm.
And the effect of despair was supposed to be immediate. The state of Israel was supposed to collapse within days, not within years. And as I said, the actual man that was executing it was the man in the street who was not sophisticated enough. But you still observe some difference in outcome, which I will not. I'm very careful in what I'm saying, so I'm not following what you meant, but you observe some difference in outcome, and I'm saying to you again, this is godly intervention. And godly intervention is very hard to discern because the good always perish with the wicked. But if you look at the big picture, it's quite clear. Young God says was Doha a success. it's war. You have to accept limited success as success and limited failure as an opportunity for limited success in the next round. We're not going to be put off if we haven't managed to achieve all of our objectives in one day. We can wait. There will be a second round and a third round, but I think that the success that we have achieved so far in the last few years is quite impressive. If you look at what Israel has achieved in the last few years, there is still one, not the most high ranking, but some sort of second tier Hamas leader that is still alive. So people will criticize the government. How come this man is still alive with us after all what he's done? He's the last one remaining. Give us some time. As to the Democrats, did you realize that the Labour Party in Israel has changed their name to the Democrats just recently? Just that it will be very clear what's happening, in case somebody missed on what's going on. And as I said to you before, this is why Israel will never win a propaganda war. Our issue is internal, as it is with you. The question is, what do you do with brainwashed people? Those brainwashed boomers are your neighbors, are your family, are your spouse. You cannot just evacuate them to a temporary tent camp while you get rid of the leadership. And even if you did, they will still be brainwashed. And you're the psychiatrist among us. You tell me, what do you do with your loved one who are brainwashed?
Well, I'm definitely not a psychiatrist, but I am studying to be a psychotherapist. As I stated, at our Shabbat table, there's a close family member who argues that, and this argument has happened several times, and unfortunately my nephews haven't learned not to argue with him. So that there, at least twice, there have been arguments. And my brother-in-law has, in fact, pretty much forbidden this argument to come up again. So it would happen even more with one of our family members who very clearly argues that the Trump assassination attempt in Butler was staged and Trump was not actually shot. This is a common belief among Democrats. It was commonly believed by a third of Democrats. This was proved by polls at the time. And the number of Democrats who believe it has only gone up.
Okay, well.
And so if there's anything which is delusional and brainwashed, there's no such thing as actual brainwashing, but there's being propagandized. It's this thing. And around the Shabbat table, I don't argue with this person. I may every once in a while when there was the argument, ask a question, but I know that the argument is not going to convince this person. But there is an effect of there being a very clear consensus within our family that that what he is saying is completely outside what you might call the Overton window, which is what rational people believe and say. And this, thank God, MSNBC, as far as I know, is not feeding this type of belief. And I think the belief that violence that violence advances your political cause, part of the problem is that it is absolutely true that within the Democratic Party, there are people, I could pull up videos. I'm thinking of videos, there were several where, what's his name? Mario Cuomo's brother, I forget his name. Well, no, Mario Cuomo, yeah, his brother, his son. I don't know the Cuomos as well as I should, but the Cuomo brother who was on, I believe, MSNBC, saying, "Tell me where it's written in the Constitution that protests have to be peaceful." Andrew, okay, no, oh yeah, Andrew Cuomo's brother. What's his name? Anyway, yes, also known as Fredo. But so there's no convincing, like, I am not in any way saying at your Shabbat table or whatever the Christian equivalent of a Shabbat table is, right? That you should be necessarily arguing with your family member. But there is such a thing as communal consensus making. And that's part of what my channel is about. And that's part of what in the estuary that the Los Angeles community here has, and the consensus and the community that we're building. That doesn't mean everyone agrees with me. I can tell you that if Trey were to listen to this this stream, he would be tearing his hair out because he thinks what I say about the Democrats is absolutely ridiculous. But the consensus within our community is that, look, the problems with the Democratic Party are problems which I would say are analogous to the problems with labor, right? Labor is not fit for purpose in Israel. It is not doing its job of being a viable, loyal opposition. And similar with the Democrats, they are not doing that job. And frankly, I see, like, I was very shocked when I followed Israeli politics in the early 2000s, and then I didn't follow it for a good 10 years. I was staying away, right? Trying to ignore it. And I can't come back and I see how few seats Labor had. And I'm like, wow. And there is a similar dynamic happening with the Democrats here in the United States. I am worried about an overcorrection in terms of the Republicans, and we are seeing that. And there is also a I don't see indications that the Democrats have decided to seriously make changes. Somebody just sent me this video, and I know it's going to be horrible, but I am going to play it because I think it's just, yeah, you're gonna see, and God have mercy.
What purpose does the gentlelady from Colorado rise? Let's wait a minute. Wait a minute. The House will be in order. 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 We will join prayer right after this, okay?
So apparently what happened was that, and the microphone didn't pick it up clearly, somebody rose and suggested that there be a minute of prayer, of silence in here. Let me actually read what the thing said. Representative Lauren Boebert requests a minute of prayer for Charlie Kirk. Democrats can be heard shouting no. Then Representative Anna Paulina Luna shouts back, "You all caused this." This is on the floor of the House. This is serious. And if the Democrats, their response is not whoever yelled no getting kicked out of the House, and the Democrats can do that if they want. I do not suggest the Republicans do that. The fact is, by a majority vote, a House member can be expelled. That is in the rules. But who was it? Was it Rashida Tlaib? AOC? Oh, yeah, but what's her name? Now I'm forgetting her name, but the one who's been very loud and stupid lately, not part of the squad. I forget her name. And by the way, acting. She is an attorney. She can speak normally. She doesn't. She's acting. Anyway, but that's beside the point. Like, there has to be a correction within the Democratic Party, or we need to. One of my hopes is that MAGA and Maha end up splitting into two parties. That's a possibility. Yeah, I don't know who it was who yelled no. It will be found out who it was who yelled no, and whoever that person is will definitely be censured by the House. There's no question in my mind that somebody that they're going to pass a censure. The Democrats need to kick that person out of their party, and I don't know if they're going to do that. Is Christian Baxter? No, he's not. I thought he was streaming, but apparently he's not. He uploaded something that's only 20 minutes long. Did I say anything that made any sense whatsoever?
You did not solve my problem, but then I didn't really expect you to, because it's a bit unsolvable. What do you do? You cannot have any conversation at the Shabbat table about politics. It just will not do. And how do you shift the public? How do you nudge the public opinion? As I told you, in Israel it is done very well because you have those religious broadcasting networks. And the psychology of it, it's extremely simple. What you get in the mainstream media is everything is bad, everything is bad, everything is bad, we're going to lose, everything is bad. Because they keep trying to get at the government. They have to prove a point that whatever the government is doing is wrong and that things are going to be awful unless you change the government. And what you get in the new religious broadcasting network is things are good. God is with us. We are succeeding. Things will be better. The Messiah will come. We just have to improve ourselves just one little bit. And the public will migrate from the bearer of bad news to the bearer of good news. It will happen.
Will it? Are you sure?
No. Well, I can never underestimate the Israelis' capability to sin. They will just never learn. They will just repeat the same mistakes and improve of them. But still, I don't know. God is tolerant with us, so who am I to judge?
In the end, I mean, I do have hope that things will be right, but I think part of it is we do have a Dan, when he joined, discussed the Serenity Prayer, and I think the Serenity Prayer has things backwards, and for Kabbalistic reasons, I believe it has things backwards. It starts with, give me the strength to change the things that I can, give me the grace to accept the things that I cannot, and the wisdom to know the difference. And the Jewish order, I believe, is the opposite. Give me the wisdom to know the difference between what I can change and what I cannot. Give me the grace to accept the things that I cannot. And give me the strength to change the things that I can. And I think the having things backwards does matter. You have to start with chokhmah. You have to start with wisdom and looking towards wisdom. Yeah. Where's Nasa v'Nishma?
Well, where is the Naaseh Venishma? That's my philosophy. I do. I mean, this is the basically, I think it's in Israeli spirit. First thing you do is that you do. Quarreling about it can we will quarrel. There will be time enough to quarrel about it later. Also, to correct, I think it was Ron who said that after the events of 6th of October, we needed some time to cool off. Both sides said needed to cool off and think before plunging into a war. I think this is not the way things evolved, because we needed at least a month to build an army. Because what happened, we couldn't get to Israel, to Gaza straight away. We found out that we had actually no army. We have to build an army from scratch. So there was time to think before plunging into it. But usually we just plunge into it.
So to explain to anybody who doesn't instantly recognize the two words that pretty much every knowledgeable Jew does, Naaseh v'nishma. Those are the two words that after, or maybe it was right before the giving of the Ten Commandments, the people answer and they say, Naaseh v'nishma, we will do and we will hear. And the rabbis talk about the importance of that statement, which is first we accept upon ourselves to do, and then we will hear, we will understand. And there's definitely an important part of that. In the scroll of Esther, there's kimu v'kiblu, right? They established and they accepted, and there the rabbis say, kiblu mashed kimu, right? They actually accepted that which they had kept from Sinai, right? And that's the other part of it is, so there's Naaseh v'nishma and there's kimu v'kiblu, right? I think we have to recognize some place. We have to recognize, we have to do, and sometimes, a lot of times, what we do, we don't necessarily have it planned out, but at the same time, I mean, Chacham einav berosho, which is a verse from Ecclesiastes, which in Hebrew is much more punish than it is in English. There's a pun there. A wise person has his eyes in his head, or usually how it gets translated is a wise person looks towards what is going to happen from the very beginning. And no, I hear it, and it's a valid point. At the same time, I think it's important to pray for that understanding, to guide what you do.
Young God was worried about lack of discipline in the Israeli army. Discipline is for peacetime, and something that you train on in the hope that some of it will remain in wartime. When you're actually in the battle, it's more the camaraderie than the discipline that motivates you.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, the fact is, to quote our famous war poet Donald Rumsfeld, you go to war with the army you have, not with the army you wish you had.
Okay, so I will go back to my main theme. What do you say to your loved one at the dinner table? I had lots of opinion about it over the internet in the last even 6 years, because things that were going increasingly worse every year, and people have been commenting, even wise people have been commenting about it even from the start. Best advice is just say nothing, because you don't want to be the one that is causing the dissonance, the cognitive dissonance, because you're just going to lash at you and you're going to lose the relationship and nothing will be gained. The wise just keep silent. And public opinion needs to be stirred ever so gently, and usually by a personal example. That's all I can say.
Okay, we've been going for almost 3.5 hours.
Yes, it's 2 a.m. I need to go to sleep.
Yes, you do. I am going to end the stream, as we always do, with the great martyr Michael Servetus. I'm going to use host's prerogative to put the Reverend Parcells to bed, because he does need to get up in the morning.
Sorry, Reverend. Thank you.
But before he goes, I have a question. Let's say, God forbid, that I were to burn somebody at the stake for not being a Trinitarian, and I did not repent of that. Is that a salvation issue?
Sometimes Jacob takes
There's
that
a
devil's
proverb.
advocate thing too
Isn't there
far.
a proverb that says something like, "Don't answer a fool according to his folly"?
But there's a proverb that says, "Answer a fool according to his folly."
There is.
Exactly right. And I'm going to leave it to you guys to determine, which of those was applicable in this situation as I go. So, but anyhow, good.
Thank you, Reverend.
Good to
Thank
chat
you.
with you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
The